So we have a simple two-step formula for identifying the hottest markets across the country. And you can do it really quickly using free tools like Google, where you're going to have no problem getting sellers to say yes and getting deals under contract, but you're going to have a big problem selling those deals and having enough buyers to buy those deals, right? That right there, that two-step method, if you didn't do anything else, like that is like the two-step to be able to have a successful market starting out. There's really only one marketing channel I recommend people starting out with, and that is.
So let's talk about like when it came time to expansion, like how did you select the right market, or how do you know if the market is like oversaturated? How do you know if the market has enough properties that sell at a discount? How do you know what the competition is like as well?
Yeah. So we've looked at a lot of different data points, right? And we took our most successful markets, broke them down and found a pattern between those markets and why we did so well there, right? So we have a simple two-step formula for identifying the hottest markets across the country. And you can do it really quickly using free tools like Google, right? So all you're going to do is you're just going to go to Google and you're going to type in the county that you're looking to start. See, most people I find they have an area that they're thinking in the back of their mind they want to start in. Sometimes it's their home territory. Sometimes it's the state that their friend lives in or they visited once, they have family in, whatever. So that's a great starting point, right? So they take that and they start with a county. So they put that county into Google and they type in whatever the county is, state, and population size. So Google will spit back the population size for that area. And what we're looking for is a minimum population size of 250,000 people. What we found is in territories that are less than 250,000 people, it's more of like a rural territory where you're going to have no problem getting sellers to say yes and getting deals under contract, but you're going to have a big problem selling those deals and having enough buyers to buy those deals, right? The second checkbox is going to Google again and typing in that same county, state, and median home price. Now, if there's anybody listening who doesn't know what the median home price is, if you picture houses on a timeline where you have the $50,000 and less houses on the left and the multi-million-dollar house on the right, the median is the one in the middle. It's the most common type of house being bought and sold that everybody can afford. And we're looking for that amount to be a minimum of 200,000 and a maximum of 450,000. And what we found is wholesaling in that range is like the perfect blend because it gives you the ability to be able to do deals without too much quote unquote competition. And at the same time, to be able to make healthy margins on your assignment fees, which is how we make money as a wholesaler. And it's the difference between the price we agree to with the buyer and the price we agree to with the seller. Those two things we found, if a territory passes those two checks, then it's a great territory to start. And then of course, we share with our clients like how to dive even deeper and see the cash transaction volume per zip code so they can really like dial it in. But that right there, that two-step method, if you didn't do anything else, like that is like the two-step to be able to have a successful market starting out.
How do you, because my buddy did something similar and he was analyzing data and he was talking about how to analyze the cash transactions as well too. But to be honest, at that time, it kind of went over my head. If somebody wanted to analyze that, how would they do that?
There's a lot of different ways you can do it, but one of my favorite ways to do it, there's a free tool out there called ListSource, listsource.com. You go there and all you're simply going to do is there's several steps that you have to go through, right? But the main thing you want to look for is cash transactions that sold in the last 90 days, right? So you're going to start with a territory. For example, you did our two-step system. You identified a territory. From there, you're going to go ahead and put that into ListSource and you're going to select cash transactions for residential single-family houses. And then what's going to happen is there's going to be a menu after that where it's going to pull up all of the zip codes in that territory and it's going to have all the cash transactions, like the number of that. And all you do is copy and paste it to an Excel form, organize them from the highest to the least, and it'll show you the zip codes that actually have the highest transaction volume of cash buyers.
Got
and
it.
Then all the way to
it'll
the
basically
least.
Rank them basically for you.
Exactly.
Like which ones have it. So that allows you to kind of determine, okay, where do I spend the money? Basically, like marketing channels, like where is it more likely? Because the way he described it to me, and it was so interesting back in the day, he said, look, like let's say California, 1 out of every 10 homeowners sells, not even as a cash transaction. He just said like 1 out of 10. He's like, I'll go into these other markets and 3 out of 10 will be selling. And he's like, look, if I am marketing to 10 homes and only 1 is going to sell versus 3, there's triple the the opportunity. So that's kind of what I'm imagining, like with
so there's a lot of different ways you can look into it, like, and how you would do that is if you use the service like Batch Leads or something like that. It's a service that we like a lot. It's a software. You would go in there and select the cash transactions for the last 90 days, and then you would take the cash option off and select the total number of transactions the last 90 days and see how many of the total transactions sold were cash, and you could come up with those same numbers.
So let's jump into the marketing channels. Like, what marketing channels do you guys recommend for some of your students?
Yeah, so the marketing channel I recommend for our clients, there's really only one marketing channel I recommend people starting out with, and that is cold calling, right? Because if you can cold call for 90 days, right, you will have a 10-year education in sales and marketing. Most people suck on the phone when they first start, right? And that's okay. But the more that they make the calls, the more confident they become. And once they gain that confidence and that momentum, that's where it becomes fun and they start actually seeing results from it. Picking up the phone and making calls is like the fastest way to get in touch with homeowners. And if you can make money and get deals from cold calling, then when you start investing money in like marketing campaigns, like direct mail, pay per lead, pay per click, like you're going to get a significantly higher return because you know how to handle that opportunity.
So let me ask you this, like, how does the previous data help in cold calling? Meaning, like, are you cold calling that zip code, or are you cold calling like different lists? Like, for example, like tax delinquencies, probates, obituaries, bankruptcies, or whatever it is?
So great question. So what we do is we take those zip codes, right? And then we go into a service like Batch Leads, and we go in there and we pull lists with different levels of motivation, like you talked about, right? Vacant lists, pre-foreclosure lists, delinquent tax leads. We pull tired landlords, senior owners, all the different types of lists, right? So we pull those and then we skip trace those, which is literally just putting a phone number with a property address so you could pick up the phone and reach the homeowner. And then from there, we're taking those lists and we're uploading them to Batch Dialer, which is the dialer we use. And from there, we're smiling and dialing, hitting the phone, making calls, making those contacts. And we believe contacts lead to contracts, having those conversations. And we found anywhere from 25 to 35 leads turn into a closed deal. And what we define a lead is someone that has the 4 pillars of motivation, right? We were able to find out the price, how much the seller wants for the property, the timeline, how soon are they looking to sell and close, the condition, right? What's the condition of the property? Has it been remodeled in the last, 10 years or 5 years? And then lastly, the motivation, their burning why, like the reason they need to sell that property. What's even making them open to a conversation? And once we have those, it only takes 25 to 35 of those to equal a deal.